Sorry, just trying to get my camera right. Hope everybody's doing good tonight. Can't believe it's already Thursday. So tonight I decided to show you how to use the gilded leafing in a few different ways instead of using gold foil for the frames or gold foil for when you cut out. Hey, Dew. Hey, Pam. How are you? Using it for like the butterfly, for instance, or for outlining our designer series paper. And I'm using the art gallery stamp set. This is a really pretty stamp set, and I don't think it gets enough attention actually. And then for the third project, I did this sweet little explosion box. And it just opens up and has a little message inside. And I just thought it was really cute. It's a little tiny box. It doesn't even measure 2 by 2. It's about 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. So it's just a cute little box that you could put a trinket in or a snack. So before we get started, I just want to make a few announcements. If you place an order of $35 or more before tax and shipping, you'll receive a swag bag full of goodies. Um, you'll receive the make and takes for tonight, and you'll also receive this PDF tutorial that has 15 different tutorials, and they're international. It's a group, the Create With Us team that I'm on. We're from all over the world. So you'll get this for free. I have this in my store for $20. And then another announcement is this weekend, my class to go, excuse me, for the Whimsical Trees. The registration will be closing. You can find this class on my blog, galfridaystamping.net. And it has this fun fold card. Oh, and I'm off the screen. This fun fold card. And then this greeting card. And then another one. I love the paper. Hi, everybody. I love the paper for this whimsy and wonder. And then I did this cute little box. And I wanted to show you because you can't see it really when you look at the picture. But when you open it up, it has like a little box and the sides are angled. So there's a little box in the box. And then here's a trinket box. It has a little enclosure, and then when you open it up, it has a little opening. The top is enclosed, so it's a really nice little trinket box. So this has 4 options. You can get the whole set with the stamp set and the dies. You can get it without the stamp set and the dies. You can get just the PDF. Or if you join my team, everybody on my team gets all my PDFs for free, and all they have to do is ask for them. So I hope everybody's doing good tonight. It's been crazy weather here. Today it's been pretty cloudy, but hot as usual. Thanks, Stu. Yeah, that is a pretty little box. It's a nice little, either could be used for a gift box or a trinket box. It's really pretty. So I think what we'll do is we'll start with this card here tonight. Let me just grab my stamp pads. This one is about the easiest, where I won't make a total mess. You know how it goes usually. I have all my stuff in a little container so I wouldn't lose anything. You know how that goes. I usually have things right in front of me and I miss them. Okay, so this card actually starts with a basic white base, and it's 8.5 by 5.5, and it's scored at 4.25. So we're just gonna burnish that fold, make sure it's nice and crisp. And then tonight I decided to use Night of Navy. I haven't used it in a while, and that's going to be my first layer. Now you don't have to keep track of measurements. I'll have the PDF in the group tomorrow, but this next layer with the Night of Navy is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, and I'm just going to adhere it with some glue. Now, for this layer, you don't have to really worry about it coming out or adding too much glue. You just really have to worry about the layer on the inside of the card. Sometimes if you add too much glue on the inside, you can actually see it through that layer. So I'm just going to add this right here to the front of the card. Okay. The PDF is $15 and it is on my website, thegalfridaystamping.net. There's a post. I can post the link after the video if you like. Okay, so now for the next layer, I have a layer of the basic white again, and this one is 5 1/4 by 4. And for this layer, I'm going to turn this way. I am going to use actually Misty Moonlight, and I'm using the stamp already. Check it out. I'm using the stamp that we would fill the color in for the front of the card. And I think I'm going to check. I believe I stamped off. Let's just check it out. Just going to ink it up. Nope, it's full strength. Okay. So what I did was I just took this stamp and randomly stamped this layer. Now you don't want to stamp all your images in the same direction, so you can either turn your block, just want to make sure it's all, you can either turn your block or you can turn your sheet of paper. And I'm just going to turn my block for now. But we're just going to put these on. Now, the middle of the card has another layer, so I don't have to fill in this section in the middle. But I do want to make sure that I get the edges of the card. Oh, let's just do this one more time. Add a little one right there. So there's the basic. Yeah, that's true, I have ink on my hands even from this morning. I was a mess this morning. Okay, so here's our layer. And all I'm going to do is adhere this to the front of the card also. Even the glue doesn't want to be helpful tonight. There we go. Must be a little bit of a clog deep down. I'll have to open it up. So I'm just going to make sure that this is on the front and it's straight and even. I have about 1/8 of an inch between my layers. So if you line up 3 of your sides and you have the same amount of distance, then you should be okay on your 4th side. Okay, so there's the front of the card. Now for the next layers, I took basic white again, and it should be 2 3/8 by 3 5/8, and then this one is 2 1/4 by 3 1/2. So again, I'm just going to have a little 1/8 of an inch all the way around the edge. Now I'm going to make sure that I have the bigger of the two. Just going to pull in this little mat, and I'm going to grab my tear and tape. And all I'm going to do is take the tear and tape, and I'm going to edge the basic white. Let me just grab my sticky scissors. They're so sticky. Let's cut that off. I'm going to do it different. I was using so much adhesive today with the tear and tape and heat and emboss. Okay, I'm just trying to get this edge off here. As you can tell, I'm having a tough time. Okay, we'll start over here. So I'm just going to lift that up so I can make sure that this tape is going right to the edge. And we can, if it doesn't go completely to the edge, we can always trim it up a little bit. But we just want to line the sides. Let me see if I have a different pair of scissors. Nope. Okay, so all we want to do is add this tear and tape right to the edge. I know when it comes to adding gold layers, it is really easy with the gold foil. But if you have a lot of cards that you need to make, the gilded leafing goes really far. It is a messy technique. Thankfully, I didn't vacuum in here today because there is, what time do I start my day? If you mean the video, 7. But if you mean my day, I start about 5:30. Hope everybody's doing good. Like 6? Yeah, about 5:30, 6 o'clock. It's a long day. I have a lot to do during the course of the day. And we ended up hearing from the hematologist. And I mean, I don't even know what to think because I really don't know too much about it. But so we discovered that my husband's platelet count is so low, almost non-existent, because he has liver disease. So I don't know what that means. I don't know, what we're supposed to do about it or what comes next. We do have an appointment. He has to have a few sonograms. So I guess that'll determine how bad it is. So we'll see. So now that we have all the tear and tape on this little sheet of paper, let me just grab my sponge. And I have all my gilded leafing. I actually dumped it out of the jar and put it in this plastic container, which probably wasn't very bright because it's so staticky. But we're just going to take this and we're going to dump it right inside. And you see everything's all hooked together. But at this point now, we're just going to rub all these edges, make sure that all the sticky areas have the gilding on it. I'm going to take off all the excess. And then at this point, I'm going to take, this is one of our sponges that we have in the catalog, and I'm just going to run it along the edge to make sure all the pieces that are along the edge are off. And I'm just going to go around and make sure that all the pieces that should be off are off. And it just smooths it out, takes all these little bits off. Now it looks like it came off that corner a little, so I am just going to take a bit of glue, take it right from the edge there, and then stick some on there, because I really don't want that corner, now it's going to be sticking to me, I don't want that corner to be white. Okay. So there's our gold frame. Let me close this up before it blows all over. I'm just going to get these pieces off. We'll be seeing gold flying all over the place. So now here's my layer. Just going to make sure about all my edges. And then I am going to adhere my white layer right on top. And we're going to glue it. This way the glue gives us just a little bit of extra time in case it's not on there evenly. The glue allows us to move it, where if we use tear and tape or Stampin' Seal. Oh, nice. I'm so happy. Okay, so there we have our layer. And all I'm going to do is pop this up. Let's see, I took out some new dimensionals, so let's turn this over. I'm glad you got your, hey Julie, how are you? We're playing and making a mess with gilded leafing tonight. Okay, we're going to find it all over. So here's our layer. Let's get these papers off. Between the papers to the dimensionals and the gold gilding, it's going to be a fun vacuum day. Okay, so we're going to just center this on the center of in the center of the card. That looks pretty good. And then we're going to stamp our image. Now I'm just going to pull this back in, and if you remember, you saw I'm using the image with the little flowers and the stem, and this is what it looks like. And instead of trying to stamp or get the color in on the greenery and on the flowers, we're going to use the Stampin' Write markers. Now I want you to remember, yes he would. Hello, quietly watching me. So I want you to know though, when you are stamping, whether it is with the photopolymer or if it's with the rubber stamps, do not use your stamping blends. The alcohol in the marker will damage your stamps. Use your Stampin' Write markers. So I grabbed the Granny Apple Green, And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit all the spaces on this stamp that has a stem. And you don't really have to work that fast, but you do want to make sure that everything that you want green, you do green. Now on this stamp, there's a couple little stems right here in the center of the flowers. And then I grabbed, I guess it's my Misty Moonlight. And you know me, I usually use the nib end. This is the brush end. Now I'm going to fill in my little flowers. Now at this point, you want to be careful not to hit your green. And we're just going to, oops, miss this one. Miss that one. We're just going to fill in these flowers. And I have to be a little careful because we have those little stems. But we're just going to color in this stamp. Now I know this is, it's not a quick and easy way to stamp. But if you want the two colors, this is the best way to do it. I see a little piece of fuzz. There it is. Okay. So we're just going to fill this in. Now that I did the blue really good, I'm just going to go back with my green and I'm just going to give it a quick cover, especially these little pieces, so they really show up. And if you're worried about the ink being dry, just huff on your stamp with hot breath and it will moisten it up a little bit. So when you stamp it, you have a two-tone image. So you have the stamp and you have your green leaves and your flowers. And then at this point, I'm going to grab my Night of Navy and I'm going to use this little stamp that comes in the set because this is a two-step stamp set. And I am just going to add some Night of Navy to these flowers, giving them a little bit of dimension, just like that. At this point, let's grab the die. We'll grab the die that matches it. Now when you line this up, don't forget your stem down here at the bottom. I did that on the first one I ran through. Make sure your stem is right in the center there. Hi, Sonia. How are you? Thank you, honey. Make sure it's in the center, and then you're going to run it through your die cutting machine. And then this is what you'll end up with. So here's our flower. And through the magic of video, we have it already cut out. I actually can't bring, if you were to see what my plates look like for my cut and emboss, you would just go crazy. They are in such bad condition. That's the one thing I have to make sure I order with the next order that goes in, because oh my word, they are in bad shape. I haven't replaced them though in a long time, so if anything, they do last a very long time. Okay, so I popped this up on the front of the card, and then I'm just going to Oh, here it is, right in the box, and didn't see it. I'm going to grab my dark Night of Navy. Everywhere I go, there's a Iggy hair. And I am going to, there it goes, color up a couple pearls. That's the great thing about our ribbon and our pearls, even not even just the pearls, our embellishments and our ribbon. You grab those Stampin' Blends and you can color your embellishments to match your card. How exciting is that? Okay, so I know this ribbon is not available anymore. This is the Misty Moonlight in color ribbon from last year. But I have so much of it, and I didn't really have anything that would match this card. So let me just quick tie this ribbon. And if Julie's in here, she's the queen of ribbons. I hope I can get this on my first try. Looking good. Okay. So we got that. The only thing I have trouble with is I make it too tight when I tie it. So I have trouble pulling it off my finger. Okay, so we're going to grab a glue dot. And I'm just going to stick it right here. I know the image is popped up, but I'm just going to stick it right here on the stem. And that's where I'm going to add my ribbon. Just like that. Puff it up a little bit. And then I like to cut my tails after the fact. This way I don't cut them too short. And then we're going to take these pretty pearls that we just colored up. And we're going to very carefully, you want to make sure these are dry. And you don't want to color them when they're on the card, because you'll end up ruining your whole card. And you want to make sure they're dry. Let's put that one there. Okay, so there's that. Let me get rid of that. And then we are going to, let me just see what I did with it. Here it is. Now I know this is so crazy. I could have die cut the smaller one, but I ended up die cutting the large frame for the sentiment. And I'm just going to make this a thank you card. We all need thank you cards all the time. And I'm going to use the Night of Navy. So I'm just going to ink this up. I'm going to go to the right of this label. And actually what I did is I took my scissors and I'm just going to angle this just like that. Add a little glue to the back. And I am going to just slip it right here under the stem. And you can see it with the ribbon there. Thank you. I don't see your names. So all it says, all I see is some, I do see your names because you gave StreamYard permission to use your name. But anybody else who didn't give StreamYard permission, I do not see your name. So I'm not being, just know I'm not being rude. I'll answer you and address you properly after the video. Okay, so there's the front of our card. Now let's head to the inside of the card. And I have a Night of Navy 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And then I have my basic white, and that's 5 1/4 by 4. So I'm going to take this pad out, and you'll notice I got a brand new one. And I'm going to go back to my Misty Moonlight, and I'm going to grab the same stamp that I used on the front of the card. And we're going to give this a stamp right here in the corner. Let me just make sure I got enough ink on there. So I'm just going to stamp that in the corner. Now I want to make sure this dries. So I'm just going to give it a few little wiggles here, because I'm going to go in with the second stamp. Let me just clean this off because I see some gold on it. And I want to make sure that the Versamark hits this really nice. Now, the reason I want to make sure this is really dry is because when we add the, let me get this little container. When we add the heat and stick powder, it will adhere to the ink if it's still wet. But we're going to grab our Versamark. Let me make some room here. Okay. The space on the desk gets smaller and smaller. So we're going to ink up. It's still gold on there. I'm going to have to really take it inside and wash it. Okay, so we're going to ink this up really good. And then we're going to line it up. You're just going to have to maneuver the stamp, and I'm in the camera, a little bit. And then we're going to stamp it. Now you want to make sure that the Versamark really adheres and sticks nicely. And it looks pretty good. Then we're going to take our heat and stick, and we're going to, just like we were going to emboss, you're going to load that stamped image up, tap it off. Let me just put that in there, cover that up, and then I'm going to grab the heat gun. Now you want to heat this, and you'll see, if you can see that powder, you can see that it's white. Now when I add the heat gun, you're going to notice it melt just like embossing powder, and you don't want to overheat it. And before I do that, this may be crazy, but here's my little container of gilded flakes. I am just going to put a little cover on it, and I'm going to take the heat gun, and we want to heat this up, not overheat it, but we do want to melt it. And you'll see, you might be able to see how it's changing. And once that changes, before it cools, you want to dump that into your gild. Let's let that cool for a second, because you know, if you emboss, you know that paper gets hot. And now that we have the emboss on there, let's hope this works. We're just going to take this sponge and again get all this extra embossing gilded paper off. Go in different directions, because you might catch a corner that you didn't catch going in the other direction. I'm just going to close this up because we know what's going to happen. And then there's another piece. And then we have a nice gilded flower on the inside of the card to match that gilded frame on the outside. So now I'm just going to add my glue. Now this is the time you want to add the glue to the outside rim so you don't see the glue in the center of this layer, because if you use too much glue, you'll notice it through the layer. And like I said, I like using the glue because it gives me that little extra time to move that layer around. So I see a little bit of gold over the edge there. Okay, so let's open up this card, add a little bit more glue. It's so funny how much I love the glue. And we're going to add this to the center, making sure it's in there even. And there we go. Ah, that's our first card. Not bad. I mean, almost identical. Pretty close, right? So there is our first card. Yeah, I know. Hey, Kathy. Thank you so much. But yeah, so here's our first card, and then the gilding on the inside too. All right, so let's jump to the second card. Now you saw this. We did that before. And I do have an image stamped. Now the base of this card is Knight of Navy, and it is the 8.5 by 5.5. And again, you want to give it a nice burnish so you have a nice crisp edge. And then I have a Knight of Navy 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And then I have a basic white 5 1/4 by 4. Now this card is going to be landscaped. Now for this one, we have a butterfly. And what I actually did, now don't mind, I'm using Elizabeth Craft Design double-sided sheets. We do have them at Stampin' Up. This is something I was on design teams before Stampin' Up, and I used a lot of adhesive, and this is where I used to get it. I used to buy it in bulk. So what I did, and I don't think I left it, let's see if I can grab it. I used one of the butterflies from Butterfly Brilliance. Let me see if I can grab it here, because I think I put it away. Yes, I did. And what I actually did to create the butterfly, and I don't think, okay, we'll use the top of this. I took the Terran tape, the adhesive sheets, and if I can just get it apart, that's the worst part. You're going to take the sticky side and you're going to lay it on your cardstock, just like that. And then you're going to take your butterfly and you're going to run it through your cut and emboss machine, and you're going to die cut it from the top down, because you don't want the back side of the butterfly, you want the front side of the butterfly. So you would run it through, and you'll have to use like a shim, because now that you're going through this brown paper, you're going through the adhesive sheet, and you're going through your cardstock. So you really do want to make sure that you cut through all these layers. And then when you do that, you'll get your butterfly. Now this time the paper pulled off the opposite way. It pulled off where this was attached to the adhesive sheet. So now here's my butterfly, and it has the adhesive sheet on it. So we're going to Let me just grab this. We're going to, while I'm working on the butterfly, let's pull the gild in. And we're going to peel the adhesive paper off. And we're going to drop our butterfly right in here. And you're going to make sure that this gilding coats this whole adhesive sheet. And you want to be a little careful. You could use the thicker cardstock if you wanted. This is the basic cardstock. And then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to just go over this butterfly just like that. Make sure your edges are nice. I'm going to go from the back side too. Now you can see that there are some pieces, and pull this a little closer, inside the openings in the butterfly. So I just have a makeup brush, and I'm just going to brush in these holes. You want to go in different directions too, because if you don't hit it in one direction, you'll hit it in the other. And you just want to make sure that all these little openings are open. Let's do this side. I mean, it makes the, I'm going to do it on the table so I can really push harder. The butterfly is shiny. It has a little bit of texture. So it's really a nice technique, and it gives a really nice look. So we're just going to make sure that this cute little butterfly, all these little pieces are off. Turn it one more time, go from the other side. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. And there we go. There's the butterfly. I'm sure as time goes on, I'll see another little piece somewhere. Okay, so since we have our gilding out, let's grab this flower, because this one I did not cut an additional one out. So we might as well make a real mess with the gilding. And we are going to, what I do with that stupid stamp, here it is. Grab our Versamark again. See, I told you everything's right here in front of me, and I still don't see it. Okay, so again, we're going to Versamark our stamp. We're going to line it up. Make sure that it's lined up just the way you want it. And stamp. And we're going to grab our heat and stick. This time let's, whoops. That gold, it's all over, I'm telling you. I was using a large Coca-Cola box actually before, and I got rid of it. I don't know why. Because it kept everything contained inside the box. Yes, the gilding lasts forever. It's so nice. Okay, so here we go again. We're going to heat this up. Make sure you have your gilding on hand. Just going to melt that so it looks like it's melted, and then dump it in. Whoops. Didn't want to do that. Make sure it's sticking. Grab our sponge. Get the most of it off. All right, let me just pick some of these pieces up here. I guess it's the worst part. So we're just going to brush this off. Like I said, you want to go in every direction. And then this stamp also has a stamp to cut it out. So you want to make sure you line it up, and give me 1 second. Let me run this through. Like I said, I'm not going to put it on camera because it is a disaster. But let me cut this out really quick. Hopefully I don't mess it up. And it cuts out really nicely. And then we're going to put that aside for the moment. Get the die put away. And then I'm going to grab this strip for the Designer Series paper. Now, I know it's off-white, but I was trying to use up all my, I have so many scraps of paper. And we're not going to see this paper. Let me pull that card. As you can see, you're not going to see this back paper other than the gold gilding. So I grabbed a piece of Very Vanilla because it was, an extra in my scrap box. And we're going to use our tear and tape yet again. I'm going to do this piece. So I think this is the last of the gilding. And also, I just wanted to tell you, if you have stencils, you can take your Versamark in the same fashion, but Versamark, actually put your stencil down and rub the Versamark over the stencil to fill in all the areas of the stencil. It really does give it a nice effect. And it's just another way that you can use the gilding on your cards. Now I'm going to get rid of that so we don't get it all over. Move some of the stuff out of the way. Got my flower. Here's that. I'm just looking here. I moved that butterfly and I just saw it and it just disappeared. That is so crazy. Huh. All right, I'll find it in a second. All right, so we're just going to, again, peel off the tear and tape. Just like that. Grab our gilding and just put it right in there. It attaches with all that static cling. It really clings really well. Okay, so we're going to grab our sponge. Just going to get these edges. Get rid of all this extra. Just like that. Let me close this up. I'm just looking. It's so funny. I do this every time. Here's that. It was right here at the edge of the desk. And then it just up and walked away. How crazy is that? Let's clean off some stuff here. It's not on my flower. And that's just a piece of paper. Okay, so let's go back to this. I'm not really too sure where he flew away to. He was right there. So let's glue this layer down. I would swear that things just up and walk away from this desk. I could have something 1 second and a second later it disappears. It's like somebody's here playing tricks on me. Okay, so we're going to layer this together. Scoot that up a little bit, just like that. And then for the layer we just created, I'm actually gonna, oops, let me just make sure it's the right size. Yep. We're gonna, I had cut one too long this afternoon. We're gonna lay this down right about here. Make sure it's on there straight. And then I have a strip of, this is the Harvest Meadow, and this is going to be released with the mini catalog. Not too much longer. Is anybody getting excited? And we're just going to lay this down, make sure it's centered right on the front of the card. And that looks like it's pretty good. All right, let me put this lid on here. As I'm making the front of this card, I am cleaning up a little bit, just straightening things up here, and playing peekaboo because that crazy butterfly was right here at the top of my desk. And it is completely gone. That is like the weirdest thing. Here's the card. I don't know. How crazy is that? Well, you know what I'll do? Give me 1 second. Let me run this through because I don't know where that butterfly went. He flew away to another land, and I know I'll find it after the fact. So we're just going to run this through real quick. Okay. Crazy. I'm telling you, it's just crazy. Okay, so let's just quick take these pieces out. See, this is why I did this in the beginning, so it would be finished. And that little stinker, like I said, I'll find it. As soon as the camera goes off, it'll appear right here on this desk. Hey, Debbie, how are you? I know, I did see it, Em. It was right here. I made it a point to put it right at the top so I could just grab it, and I saw it and then it disappeared. Like I said, it probably blew back. Okay, so let's open this up again. One last time. We're going to put this butterfly in that little box. We're going to peel off the paper to the double-sided tape. And get the gilding on this butterfly. What a mess, huh? And then we're just going to brush it off. I mean, it's quick and easy to replace it, but heck, what the heck happened? It's like it blew away. All right, let's put this aside. Now, we're not going to lose this butterfly, but I'm going to grab my sponge again, and being on the table, you can really smush it a little bit more. I'm just going to turn it over and hit the back side. See, it's a little sticky, so it's probably sticking to something. All right, so there it is again. Okay, so let's get rid of some of this gold. We have our flower, so I'm just going to grab some dimensionals and add them to the head of this flower. Let me just see where the bottom is. Okay. And we're going to pop this up onto the front of the card. And we're just going to add it just about there. Now for the leaf, I didn't use Granny Apple Green. I actually used Old Olive. And I already did it so I could save us a little bit of time. And I'm just going to adhere this to the front of the card. So I'm just going to add some glue. And I just want to stick that stem under that flower a little bit. Just like that. Excuse me. And then I'm going to grab my stamp that says, "I'm thinking of you." And I'm going to grab the Knight of Navy. And I'm going to stamp it right here at the bottom of the card. And of course I'm going to stand because I want to make sure I get this on here straight. Not bad. And then while I'm thinking about it, let's grab this butterfly before he flies away. And I just curled his wings just a tad, just to give it a little shape. And then I actually pulled his wings up from his body, added glue to his back, and we're just going to stick this right here. Just grab my pointy thing, just like that. Wipe my hands. I have more gold on my hands. Yes. No, I did not. I just did this second, just as I had showed you how to cut it. That was my example, and then I ended up cutting it out a second time after I showed you how to do it. Like I said, it's a little sticky, so it's here somewhere. I'll find it. I mean, it's probably like right here. All right, so I'm going to add some gems because now they're nice and dry. I'll stick one here. Let's stick one right here. And these are just our basic pearls, and they are colored with Night of Navy blends. Let's put the pearls away so they're out of the way. And then let's just tie a bow. Again, this ribbon is not available anymore. I just have so much of it, and it is perfect for this card tonight. So I figured I would use it, and if anybody makes a purchase and wants the make and takes, I will include the ribbon with the cards. So you don't have to worry about not having it. All right. So there's our bow. Let's grab a look, gold on here too. I'm going to find gold all over. And we're going to stick this again right on that stem. We'll puff up those little loops. Give our tail a trim. One more. There we go. And then there's the front of our card. Again, as a reminder, the PDF will be in the room probably by noon. And then for the inside of the card, I did something very simple. Let me just grab this out of the way. I grabbed about 1/4 of an inch, might be a little less than 1/4 of an inch if I can pick it up, piece of the Designer Series paper. And we're just going to add a bit of glue. Oops, don't want it to come out too fast. Just going to go down the line here. Just going to spread it so I don't want it to seep through. And I'm just going to add this right here to the bottom of the card. Let me wipe my hands real quick. Scoot that up. Give it a little trim. And then I grabbed the gold trim from the Simply Elegant suite. This is available separate. It comes in with 2 rolls, one of silver, one of gold. Now this cord is a little thicker. I have a little bit of a difficult time when I have to tie it. So I actually do tie this in a knot. Oops, speaking of knots, I just knotted it. When I wrap it around the card base, I do actually tie a knot and try to get it as tight of a knot as I can. So we're just going to wrap this around, because if I have a knot in it, I have an easier time keeping it taut around the card and an easier time tying the bow. So I'm just going to tie my bow, and as you can see, the twine, the trim unwound, and tie that tight. Now you want to put your finger on the knot and pull, and it'll keep your bow straight. Just make sure you tighten that up. I'm going to trim these tails. Make sure I cut the right one. And I'm going to just pull it down a tad, just so it's right over the Designer Series paper. Okay. Let me just put this back in the bag so it doesn't get completely tangled. And then we're just going to grab our card. and adhere this to the inside. Now when I do put twine or thread or cord around, I usually do put glue on the top and the bottom of it, just so I make sure it sticks really well. And then we're just going to make sure this adheres. I always get worried when I have to rub the card base down because who knows if I'm going to mess it up. Okay. And then here is card number 2. Now you know that your butterfly is going to get crushed when it goes in the envelope, but you can always puff it up. So there's our second card. Okay. Thanks, Donna. Thank you, thank you. Now for this sweet little box. Just going to make some room here so I can explain to you this little box. Grab my ruler quick because I don't remember my measurements on this. All right, so I grabbed the Misty Moonlight, and it is actually 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. And then it is scored at 1 3/4 on each side. And once you have these score lines, as you can see, they're scored just like that. You're going to next, make sure I did this right. Yep. On 2 opposite corners, you're going to score from the corner where these lines intersect to the corner. So now you have a score line here, and you're going to do it on one and then the opposite side. These 2 you're going to leave alone. Now for these center squares, you're going to measure halfway, which is 7/8 of an inch, and make a mark either with your stylus or a pencil, and you're going to grab your ruler and your stylus, and from that mark to the corner of that box, you're going to score. And you're going to do it on this side also, from the mark to the corner. Go to this center one, mark it at 7/8, run a score line to the corner, run a score line to the corner. And you're going to do that on each of the center boxes. And then we're going to fold and burnish. Now when it comes to these corner pieces, these little pieces, you're going to have a mountain fold. I believe they're mountains. I just want to make sure. Okay. Yep. Now, once you have all your score lines, I'm not going to score them completely yet, because the next thing you have to do, and let me grab a bigger pair of scissors. You're going to cut the corners off. So you're going to cut diagonally across these corner boxes. Now you can do it with your paper trimmer if you feel more comfortable. Line it up, but you're going to cut these corners off just like this on every corner. So it's going to be from score line to score line. Okay, now you have a piece that looks like this. And then we can, I just want to see, make sure I have this. Yep. This one comes in. Oh, this one comes in. It's like a little puzzle. But once you see how it folds, just want to get these. Once these score lines are scored and you see when you fold it, it collapses. So you just have to move it around. Oops. Let me just trim that a little bit. So then it all comes in. Oops, I didn't do this one. Let's get this score mark. These are going to, oh, look at what I did. I didn't do this one here. So let's get this. I'm going to line it up. I forgot one score line. So I'm going to use the line across the way. And use my stylus and put that score line. Okay, there we go. And then once this all folds together, it's like a little jigsaw puzzle. That goes in, everything folds in. So then it folds into a little box. Let's see, just like this. All right, let me just get these score lines a little better. I mean, if you have nice score lines, as you can see, if they're nice and burnished, it's much easier to get your design together. So these two corners come in. See that? When you have nice crisp lines, it really works well. So then I have a Night of Navy that is 6 by 2. And it's scored at 1 3/4, 3 5/8, and then 5 7/16. So again, make sure you fold. And this is going to be the strap to the box. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to this center. And we're going to line this up right here on the bottom of the box. You want to fold it over to make sure that it's going to fit folded nicely. Thanks, Kathy. Just like that. And then this piece here, we're going to fold this down, adhere this down to the front. Just like that. And then we're going to do the same thing to the back. And I'm going to add my glue to this piece, not to this little piece, just the square, because this is going to be the back of this box. So now we have a strip right down the center of that box. Okay. Now I have a bunch of little squares. I have a Night of Navy and a basic white, and these are really odd. This is 1 5/8 by 1 5/8, 1 1/2 by 1 1/2. Now this one's actually going to go in the center. This is our little piece in the center that's going to have our, I think, what did I have in this one? Best wishes. And I don't even know if I kept that one out. I don't think I did. I have thank you. Oh, yes, I do. I have it right here. So I'm just going to grab this little piece. Let me grab my pad here and a new scrap of paper. And we're going to use the Night of Navy. And I'm going to stamp the best wishes across the bottom. Just like that. And then I'm going to grab, I see gold, one of the little flowers. And I'm going to stamp off the Night of Navy this time. I'm just going to put it right at the top. Just like that. And then we're going to take this piece and we're going to adhere it right to the center. Glue is acting weird tonight. It's just not working the way it usually does. Let's wipe this off. And then with the little squares, I know they look like they are exactly the same size. Let me close this ink before I put my hand in it. But they're off by a hair. For the outside, I think, let's see. For the inside, they're 1 5/8 by 1 5/8. So the inside was pretty easy. They're just little squares for the inside. So we're just gonna, oops, looks like it's upside down. You do want to watch your pattern sometimes. So now we got to grab the other one. Here we go. Because they are just a hair different in size. And I'm making sure that when this opens, that the patterns are in the right direction. All right, so now we can close this up. And this little piece here, I actually used a little piece of Velcro. And I cut it in half. Let's just grab this one here. And I'm going to make sure that the clear piece of Velcro is the piece that's on the front here. And then the other piece, the colored piece, is going to go back here. So I'm just going to add this on here right now. But before I close it, we're going to add the other DSP. Now this is 1 5/8. Oh, maybe they all are the same size. I cut them all the same. This one should have been a hair smaller. And I'm going to check what I wrote down today and just check to make sure. Let's see how this fits. Because this is going to go on the front, and that looks like it's upside down. Oh, that's about right. So we're going to add this to the front. Give that a second to dry. And then we're going to grab the other piece. This has been a crazy box month, hasn't it? I think every class. I've been working on my August craft box. I just don't know how it's going to go over. I showed my husband and he was like, "But it's so white." was his that was what he said. I was so disappointed in him. But so now I have the Velcro there and my little sides on, so now I can close it up. Now you just want to make sure that that Velcro is sticking, and then the first time you open it, you may just want to make sure it's really sticking well, and then open it up and press that little Velcro strip down, and then it'll close up really nice. Same thing with this one. I did the same. So let's just one more time. I put the ribbon over here. One more time, let's grab some ribbon. Yeah, that's what he said. It just didn't have enough color. I mean, I'll give you a sneak peek. This is what I've been working on. This is going to be my craft box for August. It's going to be a home decor piece for those people in your life that you just don't know what to buy for. And it's a nice, quick, and easy project. And if you wanted to order more than one, then I'll give you a discount. You buy the one, and then I'll give you a discount on multiples. So that's going to be my craft box for August. All right, so we got our bow. Let's grab a glue dot. Add this right here to the top of the box, and that looks a little crooked there. Oops. Stick our bow. All right. And there we go. Our cute little box. Our cards. Let's see if we can lean these back. There we go. There we go. So I hope everybody liked tonight's cards. You need to learn how to do a bow. Yes, I am going to do a video and do a step-by-step with the bows. You just have to practice. I'm still not good, but watch for that. I'll do it before Saturday. So I hope everybody enjoyed these cards. I'll see you Saturday as we continue working on our mini albums and our display case. And have a great night. I'll have the PDF in the room in the morning. Thanks everybody for joining me tonight. I hope you had a good time and I hope you enjoyed the projects. Have a great night and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.